Hi, today I'm gonna show you how to knit this beautiful cable dog sweater. Let's get started. Okay guys, first of all, please check my description box for all the detail. I put some links you might need, such as my website to download this written pattern and everything. Okay, so again, today I am going to show you how to knit this beautiful, beautiful cable rib design dog sweater. This sweater has no regular rib. Regular rib means, repeat of knit one, purl one, or knit two, purl two, something like that. It's all cable from top down. And at the very bottom, I actually use the garter stitch instead of just a regular rib. And it's completely seamless. And number 4 detail, I increase inside of the cable. And lastly, it's size adjustable, so you can knit any size you want. Can you see from neck to bottom? Same beautiful cable design. Also, on the sleeve, same thing. You have to use same pattern. However, I told you I increase inside of the cable, but still looks the same, right? I will tell you the detail later. I usually increase mid chest section around there, with my basic dog sweater. This time it's different. Right in the cable, I am going to increase, and I will talk about it. First of all, you have to knit your swatch and take a gauge. Let's move on to math section. Okay guys, so this is my gauge math template. If you haven't downloaded yet, you can go to my website and then download it. This is very useful. Anyway, I already input all the numbers I need. Super easy. And I actually didn't knit 4x4 swatch this time. Only 2-inch. Okay? So, and I didn't need the roll, so just a stitch count. So my swatch was 2-inch here, right? And with some 2-inch, I have 10 stitches. That's all I need. And I want to find out cast on number from the length, and my dog's neck measurement is about 12 inches. However, this is because of the cable knitting, it shrink a bit because you twist for cable, right? So I go bigger size. So I add 1 inch, so my desired neck measurement is 13. And I put 13 here, and this is the yellow section, so let's go see yellow section. 65. And this project cast on has to be multiple of 10. Multiple of 10 easy, either 60 or 70. And obviously I go bigger size. And if you don't know multiple of 10, you go down here and put 10 here. And there you go. Those numbers are multiple of 10. So you pick, close number. You should pick bigger number. All right? That's my suggestion. Okay, so let's move on to actual knitting then. Cast on. I made 70 cast according to my math, or multiple of 10. After I cast, I am going to knit in round. So I am going to use magic loop technique, cut in half, make sure it's not twisted. If you don't like the magic loop technique and you have right length of the cable for this project, you don't have to do the magic loop technique, obviously. Okay, make sure you're facing to right side. That's a wrong side. Okay, and then put the begin marker, then start. And the rib is repeat of knit 2, purl 2, knit 4, and purl 2. 10 stitches. Okay? Obviously, you have to be very careful because it's, knit 2, purl 2. However, the third one is knit 4. And this knit 4 section, I will do the cabling later on. So you really have to follow the pattern. And this is preparation row, but count as row 1. And this is kind of important. Okay, multiple of 10 cast, and I made 70, which means I am going to cable 7 times, which means I am increase 7 stitch in 1 round. Row number 2 to row number 4, it's all same. So I just put the knit over knit stitch and purl over purl stitch. All right, and I meet you row number 5. Anyway, the pattern itself, it's so easy. Here is end of row number 4. Then cable knitting starts. Okay, there you go. End of the row number 4. And row number 5, as I told you, where I put knit 4 right there, I'll do cable. And everything else is same. So knit over knit, purl over purl. Okay? Except knit 4 section. And I am using cable for front. So pick up 2 with cable needle. Okay? And hold it out front because C4F. Then knit 2 from left needle, then come back to cable needle, knit 2 from cable needle. This is cable for front, C for front. That's it. And then purl 2. Okay, then start all over, knit 2 and purl 2. I'll show you C4F. Okay, don't worry about it. Okay, little bit zoom up. So there's 4 stitch. And cut in half. Then pick up 2 stitch. Right? on cable needle and hold it out front. Then knit 2 on left needle. Come back to cable needle. Then knit those 2 stitch. Now, as you can see, you twist it. Kind of, left shifting, front cable. It's done. And you just have to do this in one round. And row number 6, again, knit over knit, purl over purl. And you just have to repeat row number 1 to row number 6 until your desired length. I did 3 times total for the neck. Okay, so again, I did 3 times. It's about 3 inch, and that's about it, because I'm not going to fold the neck rib like that. So make sure it's short enough. If it's too long, you have to fold it. Then you ruin the cable rib, right? Anyway, after that, optional garter stitching round. Purl, knit, purl. I'd add 3 row garter stitch. At first I didn't, and I didn't like it because there's no boundary for neck and body. So I recommend you to add garter stitch. Can you see? Yeah, it's kind of, nice design, the garter, right? And you have to carry on the cable pattern, which is from row number 1 to row number 6. However, now increasing kicks in, but only on row number 5. When you do the cable, I am going to increase 1 stitch right on the cable design. So I will meet you on row number 5. All right? But before I talk about increasing, I gotta do leash opening. Whenever you knit enough, okay, you have to find out which is dog's mid chest. The first knit 2 section will be dog's mid chest for me. Then count evenly from both sides and find out where you want to do the leash opening. Okay, I think I did the 8 or 12 stitches. The first knit 2 section, that's gotta be dog's mid chest. Okay, and count evenly like that. There we go. So 4 and 4, so 8 stitches. That's gotta be dog leash opening. I put the marker, and it says best rows to start for the leash opening should be row number 1 or row number 2, because you don't want to get involved with cabling, right? So first row for the leash opening, bind off. So knit over knit, purl over purl, follow the pattern, and then bind off. Okay, until next marker. There we go. And this is the cable section, so it's all knit. Then keep binding off, and again 8 stitches. However, before you do 8th stitch, second marker comes. So when you hit the second marker, you have to be careful, because one on the right needle, that's the 8th stitch you have to bind off, this one. Okay? So what you have to do is remove the marker and knit next one, which is knit, then bind off. And the one on the right needle belong to knit 2 over there. All right? And just follow the pattern. And here comes, this is the second row of leash opening. There's no more stitch because I bind off in previous row. So now I had to add new cast. If I bind off 8, I add new cast 8 of them. So if you bind off 10, you have to add 10. All right? And then just keep knitting whatever your row. All right? So this is the reason why you kind of avoid, the cabling around the cabling row as well. Okay, so after this, let's move on to increasing. Beautiful leash opening. Increasing has rule. Increasing row number 1, increase take a place with back needle. 2, increase right in the middle of cable. 3, use knit front and back technique to increase. 4 and 5, I will maybe tell you later. You don't really need to know because I put everything down. Anyway, rule number 1, with back needle, which means whenever you do cabling, you have to put the cable needle out front or back, right? This time, I'm gonna hold it out front, which means left needle will be back needle. Then I will increase with stitch on left needle. You know what I'm saying? This time I'm going to increase from 4 stitch to 5. I am picking up 3 stitch because from even number to odd number, you have to divide it by 2. 4 divided by 2 plus 1 is 3. So 3, just hold it out front. And there's only 1 stitch left, right? And what did I say? Use KFB. Knit front and back. This is easy because there's only 1 stitch left. Okay, so you don't really have to think. Just knit front and back, right? So now I have a 2. Then come back to cable. There's 3 stitch on cable needle, then knit 3. So now I have 5 stitches total. Did you get that? So there we go. After purl 2, now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I just increase 1 stitch. Okay, I'll show you at least one more time. Purl 2 and knit 2, then purl 2, right? And again, I am going to increase 1 stitch from 4 stitches to 5 stitches in the cable. Here comes, I have 4 stitch now. Okay, divided by 2 plus 1. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. Then plus 1. So I have to pick up 3. You don't really have to think because I wrote everything down. So you just have to follow my written pattern and hold it out front. Then there's one stitch left on the left needle, and left needle will be back needle. So let's increase with knit front and back. So now I have a 2 stitch instead of 1. I just increase 1 stitch. Then come back to cable needle, then knit 3. That's it. And let me show you one more time for just in case, because this is so important. Anyway, if you increase within the cable, you don't have to disturb any purl stitch or knit 2 section. It's still beautiful kind of cable rib, right? So it's good to know. Anyway, 4 stitch right here, and divided by 2 is 2 plus 1. So you have to pick up 3 stitch with cable needle. And this is front cable, so hold it out front, 3 stitch. And how many stitch left? 1, right? And then always increase with back needle, so knit front and back. Then drop the stitch off from the left needle. Okay, just take your time. There we go. Now you drop the stitch off. Okay, then come back to cable needle, then just knit 3. That's it. You know, the reason why increase back needle, because you don't really see, right? There you go, purl 2, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I have 5 cable stitch instead of 4. And you just have to, repeat until begin marker, which means I will increase 7 stitch on this row. And you just have to, carry on the pattern, and I will meet you on next row 5 because I want to increase more. 7 stitch increase within 6 stitch. That's pretty much same increasing as, my basic dog sweater. So you don't really have to worry that, or maybe not enough, increase or anything like that. All right. So let's jump into next row 5, increasing from 5 stitch to now 6 stitch. Okay. I have 5 cable stitch now. Now, okay, from odd number to even number, you have to increase 1 stitch first. So 5 plus 6. Sorry, 5 plus 1 is 6. And 6 divided by 2 is 3. So again, you have to pick up 3 stitch with cable. So now you have to divide 3 and 2. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Now 3, hold it out front. Now there's 2 stitch on the left needle. I know you have to increase with back needle, but which one? And I said increase in the middle. Now you have to think. Okay, the first stitch will be first on your right because it twists like that. That's the cable, right? So which one is the center stitch? Okay, this last cable, okay, is now center, but when you twist, it's the other way around. Okay, so the second on the left needle, second stitch on the left needle will be the center. Did you get that? So you always knit until last stitch. So knit 1 obviously because there's only 2. And then knit front and back. There we go. Now I have a 3 on the back needle because I increase 1. And then come back to cable needle, then knit 3. So now I have total of 6. I hope you understood. But even if you don't understand, I wrote everything down, so you just follow my written instruction. Now, after the purl 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there we go. I increase 1 more stitch. I'll show you one more time, okay? From odd number to even number, you have to add 1 stitch first. So 5 plus 1 is 6. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So pick up 3 with cable needle and hold it out front. And now increase in the middle. So knit until last, which means knit 1, and then knit front and back at last stitch on left needle. Now I have 3 stitch with back needle, then come back to cable needle, then knit 3. So I have total of 6 stitch now. When you increase enough but not reach to the top of the dog's leg, front leg, you just have to keep knitting without increase until you hit the top of the front leg. And then once you hit the length hit, you have to prepare for the dog leg opening. Now I just finished row number 6 and add marker. Again, you have to count evenly from mid chest, which is knit 2, right? And I count just 2 both sides. So for the chest, I need only 6. And then I put 18 stitches for dog leg. And I want you to make sure, the pattern carries on. So has to be clear cut. You don't take in the middle of cable. Okay? Everything else is fine. You have cut in half in the knit 2 section or purl 2 section. However, you cannot cut in the middle of the cable because you have to carry on the pattern for sleeves, right? Anyway, so I put the marker for both legs, okay? And then now let's start. You can do 2 rows buttonhole technique just like leash opening. However, my way would be better to move on to the sleeve. So if you want to try new thing, you should try. So let's knit. This is row number 1, right? Which is knit over knit and purl over purl. Okay? And then when you hit the leg marker, remove it. And then grab scrap yarn. Okay? The complete contrast color would be great. And then keep knitting, which is knit over knit stitch and purl over purl stitch. Okay, this is row number 1. Just knit with the scrap yarn, contrast color would be better in between leg markers. Okay? So again, you should avoid, cabling row. Okay? And here comes, and this is not the bind off. So once you hit the second leg marker, that's it. Okay? You can cut the, scrap yarn. There you go. Remove the second marker and turn around. Then transfer those stitch you just knit back onto right hand needle and act like nothing happened. Okay? The reason what I'm doing this is I just want to keep stitches. That's it. And now with the main working yarn, start all over. This is row number 1. Okay? So knit over knit and purl over purl. And obviously I have to take those scrap yarn later on and then start knitting the sleeve, which means I have to start from row number 2. All right? And after this, you just keep knitting until next leg markers. Obviously, there's are 2 legs, so okay, and you do exactly same thing. So row number 1 still. So in between, legs marker, use the scrap yarn, then knit once, then transfer back, then, just act like nothing happened and, knit all the way down with the your main yarn. That's it. And let's forget about it for a little while. And then you probably want to put this sweater on to your dog to make sure, the length is good enough and all that. So later, I'm going to open the leg opening. Okay? And here comes, after the leg opening, no more increasing for me. And then I'm showing you C6F, no more increasing. So pick up 3 and knit 3 from the left needle, come back to cable and knit 3 from cable. But you know what? I said no more increasing. However, if you are knitting for chunky dog, even though past the chest, like a French bull or just a chubby dog, you can increase, You don't really have to disturb any stitch, right? So, just go ahead if you want, all right? Anyway, just keep knitting until enough length for tummy. And I knit enough, but not enough for tummy. But I want to show you how to open the leg opening. Okay, I already did, for one leg. So I will show you. You need, another scrap yarn. Different color would be great. And as you can see, the red is the place, okay? Kind of separate from top and bottom stitch. You know what I'm saying? The sandwich, right? So you just have to knit up top and bottom stitch of the scrap yarn, okay? Coming from back and come back to mid stitch, and you just go up and down and knitting up one side of the stitch. I'm actually knitting up right side of the every knitting stitch. There you go. I knit up 6 for cable because, 6 stitch. And here's the thing. This is a little bit tricky, okay? The purl tab is in between scrap yarn. But you kind of know which one to knit up, right? Yeah, that's the one. The bottom one is bottom one. And bottom one, bottom one. That's it. And then now come back to knit section. Okay, same thing. The right side of the knit stitch and same thing. That's about it. And I guess I miss couple stitches, but don't worry about it. It happens. You can pick it up later anyway. Okay, so just keep. And if you don't like this doing with the needle, you just use the tapestry needle with the scrap yarn. That'll be maybe easier because the needle itself is much thinner, right? So it's easy to put the needle into the stitch. But I'm lazy, so there you go. And after that, grab the another scrap yarn with different color would be better because now you have to cut the the red scrap yarn. Well, I don't cut, but take the red scrap yarn off. So there we go. And now the other side, you have to do exactly same thing, knitting up, everything, and take the another scrap yarn, different color would be great, and do the same thing. And after this, okay, here comes. Let's take the red scrap yarn off. I didn't even, make a knot, so just slowly pulling out. And if the end tail is getting longer and longer, you can cut it, right? But I don't really want you to cut in the middle because you might accidentally cut the, your white, thread, right? I don't want you to do that. So just keep doing. Look at this. So now it's open, so you can put the sweater on your dog and make sure, this is long enough and not long enough yet, stuff like that. Okay? If you don't need to do this, you don't need to, but it's easier. Anyway, I knitted it enough for tummy. When you knit enough for tummy, okay, take all the tummy stitch onto stitch holder. A little bit is fine. Okay, you don't really have to have a half or anything like that. All right, I took that much because dog has to pee, and I don't want the sweater get dirty or wet, right? So just a little bit around that tummy area. You can cut the yarn and just transfer all the tummy stitch. All right. By the way, I want you to make sure one thing, which row you just finished. I just finished row number 6, then transfer the tummy stitch, which means tummy stitch on the stitch holder is row number 6. Okay? Which means you have to start on row number 1, which is right side. Okay, so knitting side. Another word, if you finish row number 5, it's impossible because it's a cable knitting. However, if that was the the row number 5, row number 6 would be wrong side. So you shouldn't start with knitting side. If it's wrong side, this one. Okay? So that's the one tricky part you have to remember. Okay? So you should finish on wrong side and then start with knitting side would be easier because decrease kicks in right away. You know what I'm saying? And now decreasing starts only on right side. One decrease each side. First decrease should be left leaning decrease, and end decrease would be right leaning decrease. That's what you have to remember first. Okay? And I have 2 purl stitch to start. And I have to decrease 1. So 2 purl become 1 and ended up purl. So you have to use technique left lean purl, which is purl 2 together. However, I made the mistake. I use back loop purl 2 together. Back loop purl 2 together is right leaning purl decrease. Okay? But I guess I got confused and I use back loop purl 2 together. However, everybody, don't worry about it too much, to be honest, because ended up you have to knit up on the side of the edge anyway. So, nobody knows really. But technically, I should have done just a regular purl 2 together because this is left leaning purl decrease. Okay? So just pretend that I did regular purl 2 together. Right? And then this is row number 1. So just follow the instruction, which is, knit over knit and purl over purl. And here comes, there you go, at the end of the row number 1, there you go, right leaning purl. Has to be back loop purl 2 together, but I just did the purl 2 together, so it was the other way around. Row number 2, wrong side, no decreasing. So just follow the written instruction, which is knit over knit and purl over purl. So meet you row number 3. Okay, so row number 3. The first always left leaning, and I have 1 purl stitch, and then next knit stitch. However, I want to get rid of the purl and ended up to have knit stitch because next stitch should be knit 2, right? So get rid of the 1 stitch purl, then become knit. So I'm gonna use knit technique, which is left leaning knit, means SSK. So slip, slip, knit. Then this will be the first stitch of the knit 2, right? And then second one, just knit. Again, row number 3, just knit over knit and purl over purl. And meet you at the end of row number 3. You have to do decreasing again. Again, even if you make a mistake, don't worry. As long as you decrease 1 stitch for both ends, you should be fine. There you go. Row number 3. Okay, end of the row number 3. Again, purl stitch at very end and knit stitch in front of it, but has to be knit to end. So again, this side, right leaning, knit decrease. So just a regular knit two together. Okay, that's all. So after this, just keep decreasing, but I want to show you how to decrease with cable section. Okay, row number 5, I have to decrease around the cabling part. This is row number 5. Okay, 1 purl at the very beginning, right there. That's what I want to, get rid of it. So just pretend you have to do C6F, but with 1 extra. So you pick up 3 and that first purl, which means you pick up 4. And the cable, okay, has to at front like that, right? And then knit 3 from left needle, just like, regular C6F, right? And once you come back to cable, there's 4 stitch instead of 3. And a purl stitch at out front. So just knit 2 together to decrease there. That's about it. And don't worry about the SSK or knit 2 together here, really. Okay? Because it's going to be in the middle of the cable anyway. So you don't see which leaning. Okay? So, meet you the other side of the cable. Same thinking, the way of thinking. However, this time the purl is at the end. You want to get rid of. Okay? So you want to leave the purl with last 3 knit stitch, which means you have to pick up 3 stitch with cable needle, just like regular C6F. And then whenever you knit last 2, you gotta do knit 2 together. That's it. To, get rid of that purl. There we go. And then come back to cable and knit 3. So you just keep doing, until your desired length. I believe I did 3 times, something like that. And whenever you knit enough, you reconnect. Again, I finish right on the row number 6. So, it's nice, smooth cable finish. Then row number 1, well, it's not row number 1 because I'm going to use the, the purl stitch because I want to use garter stitch at the end of the sweater. So it's going to be all purl. Okay? And whenever you come to the side, which no stitch, you can knit up. And I use knit up technique, but I should have used, purl up, not knit up. But it's your preference. Knit up is easier, right? So I use knit up technique. I'll show you later how to knit up with purl stitch. when I connect the sleeves. So if you like the knitting up with purl on the side, okay, please watch that. And after the side, just purl for tummy and reconnect everything. And garter stitching that round is just a purl, knit, and repeat. Those two. That's about it. You can knit as many as you want, but you should finish with purl row. And so you can bind off with knit technique, right? The bind off with purl is hard. The knitting is easier. So anyway, bind off with one size bigger needle, so it's going to be stretchy, easier for you to put the sweater on the dog. Okay, so just bind off with the one size bigger needle. And now, finally, I can talk about sleeves. It's beautifully done. It's a little bit wavy at the end, but it's going to be stretched like that, so don't worry about it. And I like the little wave too. It's beautifully done. You don't even know you increase, right? And I already knit the sleeves. Again, I didn't add any regular rib. Okay, so I transfer all the stitches onto the needle, the bottom one and top one. Do you remember that stitches are row number 1? Do you remember I finished row number 6 and prepare for the leg on row number 1? So start with row number 2, which is easy, knit over knit and purl over purl. So I started with the bottom sleeve, right? Just knit until the other side. And after you knit bottom part, before you go to the stitch on top, I knit up in between because there's a little gap. It's up to you, but more stitch means more space for dog too, right? So here it comes, and I'm gonna use the technique knit up with purl. It's just easy. Put the left needle in where you wanna knit up, like that, and then put the needle front of the left needle, just like a purl, and purl. That's it. And then next one, same thing. Put the left needle first and put the right needle and make a purl. That's about it. And after this, don't forget the other side. You have to, knit up again. Again, this is optional. You don't really need to, but I don't like that little gap, in between top and bottom stitch. So I did it. Okay. So this is knit up with purl stitch. So which is actually good because it's gonna be how should I say it? Top cable knitting and bottom cable knitting. In between those top and bottom cable knitting, there's 2 purl in between. So it's much nicer look when you finish. And there we go. This is row number 3, and just carry on the the pattern. I did, I believe, 3 times, and bind off with the one size bigger needle. That's about it. So it's not really dog sweater season here in North America, but I wanted to knit, dog sweater as many as I can for my doggy. So I thought I should maybe share it with you guys. Anyway, it's a beautiful, cable knitting from top to bottom, all cable. Super easy, so you should try it. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please give you a thumb up and share this video. Bye for now. Enjoy knitting.